a video on my 7.3 Power Stroke. I've got a coolant leak that I've been having for quite some time. By the way, this is on a 2002 Ford Excursion, and anyhow, shortly after we bought it, about 5 years ago, we were having a loss of coolant, and the Degas bottle here was very discolored, and I had visible signs of diesel fuel in the coolant. After some research, pretty much figured out and found that it was possibly a cracked injector sleeve. So I went about and replaced those, but interestingly enough, about a year before that, because the bottle was in such bad condition, visually showing signs of cracking and whatnot, I went ahead and replaced it with a Dorman, an aftermarket Degas, new cap, and that's before I knew it was the injector sleeves. Just figured I'd do some house cleaning, and so anyhow, did that, and then did the injector sleeves when I found out what the real cause was about a year later. So that seemed to be successful. However, I seem to keep having to top off my coolant somewhere in about this region here. So you got the max level here, and then your cold fill levels shortly thereabouts, just below that. And so it was roughly about this area here. Level's still going down, so of course I just assumed that, well, maybe I did something wrong with the injector sleeves, or I had another cracked one, and been kind of chewing on my nails, deciding whether I wanted to dig back in it again. It's a little bit of a project, not too bad for somebody to do who's mechanically inclined, has a couple days of time to get into it, but wasn't overly excited about it, so I just did a pause in that project. So once I got the engine up to good and warm, I just started kind of looking around the engine, you know, usual spots, any hoses or connections. I checked around where I have my aftermarket coolant filter on the system from Diesel Site, see anything there, maybe something down around with the thermostat mounting, or any of the hosing or connections down there. Couldn't see anything, so I just happened to be walking around the side of the engine here, and a couple things I noticed looking down. You really can't see it quite well, but down in here, part of the intercooler ducting or housing piping looked very clean down in here, which is quite odd when you look at everything else. It has a little bit of that diesel soot buildup on it. Well, I got looking back around, and back up in here, just underneath the Degas bottle, I just happened to catch just a drop of water come flinging out this way. Of course, AC wasn't running, so there's no condensation coming from anywhere, any lines. I immediately knew, okay, I had something going on. Kept watching, sure enough, every couple of seconds or so there was water, a drop of water come flinging out down here. Made me feel pretty good. So I just said, well, I must have a crack somewhere in the Degas bottle, and so I need to get that replaced. Once I get into it, I'll find out where the leak actually is. Didn't have a replacement on hand, obviously, at the time. So went online. I was going to get another aftermarket Degas bottle. Went to Amazon where I'd ordered before. Nothing against Amazon, they just happen to be selling it. And before I hit the pay now button, I said, oh, let me look at some of the reviews. Well, the first thing I ran into was a lot of people talking about problems with the Dormans, and not getting the cap itself to seal. You know, they'd get a new cap, still no problem. And so one of the things that I got looking into was there was a gentleman on there who had done a side-by-side comparison with an OEM Degas. He went ahead and ordered one from, I think, Sunrise Ford out in California, and he said, hey, take a look, and he put the bottle side by side, and he said, if you look on the Dormans, there's a ridge. You can see just where my nail is, kind of running around here. And on the aftermarket, or that's on the, sorry, on the aftermarket one, on the OEM, I'll just set it up here and kind of give a look. It's completely flat. Okay, there is no raised edge there, just roughly past where my nail's at. Well, that made perfect sense to me. I mean, when you have any kind of a gasket trying to make contact with something else, you want to have as much sealing service as possible. Well, so I went ahead and ordered the aftermarket that came in today. That's the job I'm doing now. Matter of fact, the sound you hear is me draining the coolant out of the engine. I don't have someone using the bathroom off camera here, but one of the other things I noticed as I looked on the cap here, you can look and just past, if you follow kind of the off-color plastic centerpiece there down into the cap, and then basically just off where my nail is kind of showing from camera, there's a circle, and that is, it goes all the way around, okay, and that should be nice and flat. That is where this cap has been sealing on this ridge. So hardly any kind of sealing whatsoever on the gasket, just that small little outer side of the ridge, nothing towards the center. And so it's a miracle I even had any kind of ability to get any kind of up temperature on the vehicle with it just bleeding off pressure. Of course, it could have been causing other problems, but anyhow, that's just information. It's not very technical, and it may not be completely accurate, but it's certainly something that I observed and noticed with what was going on here. So in the process of taking a closer look at this bottle, I got looking down in here, and I'm going to try and get the camera on the... There is a... Oh, if I can get my finger down there just to see it. It's hard to tell whether the camera actually is catching or not, but right down in here, I just kind of covered up. You can see kind of a black line there, and it's just under this mounting piece. There is a small crack right there. I don't know how long it's been there. You can see it better now with my finger kind of out of the way and the light coming through. I don't know how long it's been there, but that is exactly in line with the level on the tank where I told you that I was having to fill up all the time, was about right in here. So the project today is going to be to replace my Degas bottle and the lower radiator hose. It's looking a little soft, and some oil and just road debris on it. It's just kind of gummed up on it, so I just want to go ahead and get it replaced. When I get this pulled off, if I see anything else underneath or something different with the Dorman tank versus the OEM tank, I will definitely point that out in a follow-up video. And certainly if this does not fix the problem I'm having with continuing to top off the coolant, which I certainly hope it is, because I do not want to do injector sleeves again, I will post a follow-up video to this one and let you know how that goes. So I'm excited about hopefully fixing this issue, and hopefully this helps somebody else out there who might be having a similar problem. And like I said, I got the the OEM Degas bottle. Ford calls it the Degas bottle. Basically an overgrown coolant reservoir, but it's pressurized, so it can go up to 16 psi. It gets hot enough, whatever. I got it from, I believe it was Sunrise Ford out in California. It was like 83 bucks or something with shipping. The Dorman itself on Amazon was 48 bucks prime, but I figured, hey, for another 35 bucks or so, I'll get the OEM part. Definitely this is an issue. So if you are even thinking about replacing and you want to go Dorman, at a minimum you're going to want to get maybe a sander or something off vehicle. Obviously don't be filing, with this on the vehicle. You're going to get stuff down inside here and throughout your system. You don't want anything get clogging up your radiator, but just take it off. I imagine you could flatten this out. The key word being make sure it's flat and not, like this. Otherwise you'll have the same problem when you go to try and tighten your cap down. But hopefully this helps somebody out, and feel free to comment below, ask me any questions. There's other things I've done on the Ford, anything about my Ford. I've done some work on range and all kinds of vehicles. Just got done with a timing cover replacement on my Ranger, 2000 Ranger. It had a coolant leak on it. Should have done a video on that. That one was all kind of fun, and I'm being very, very sarcastic with that. But I decided to go ahead and pull the camera out and do one on this because I'm hoping this helps somebody out, saves you some bucks, and saves you some frustration. So please like the video, and this is Dutch Slayer signing out.